The truth can hurt you, or the truth can change you. What will truth do to you?
Hello there, my beautiful and handsome listeners and viewers. How are you today? How has your day been? Mine has been beautiful because I have got a beautiful mind. You are welcome to your reality talk show, Beautiful Mind. This is the show where we say no to stigmas, discriminations, and any judgmental attitudes. On this show, we talk about issues that are considered as taboo. The people generally do not like to talk about publicly. And our aim is to let people know that they do not need to suffer in silence because help is readily available. Beautiful Mind believes that everyone deserves love and respect, regardless of their past, disability, illness, color, education, religion, and sexual orientation. You are welcome to your reality talk show. This is the show where we want you, viewers, to see beauty in everybody, regardless of what they are going through. So why don't you grab yourself a cup of tea, hot chocolate, water, coffee, soup, whatsoever that makes you feel comfortable. Please sit down and come along with us. And if you're coming back from work and you're enjoying this show via our online radio, please enjoy. Please enjoy the show and drive carefully. Yes, you know that you can connect with us on all our social media, and you can also share this video, please. Yes, please help us share this video. And please don't forget to share your views, your comments, your contribution. You know, I always say this, I don't want you to just leave me and my guests alone. I want you to get involved as well, because this is an interactive and educative show. You are welcome. While the topic of today's show, I am so excited about this topic because it is something that every one of us, can relate with. And the topic is purpose-driven life. Purpose-driven life. Living, we're going to be talking about living in an aftermath of a strategy. Well, some people will see it as a strategy. Tragedy, not strategy, sorry, as a tragedy. But I believe, God is a wonderful God. He is a wonderful God. And he knows what he's doing. So I'm not going to say much about this topic today because I want to put you in suspense. Well, some of you might have known my guest for today, and some of you are coming across her for the very first time. So I'm going to ask her to introduce herself just for the benefit of those of you that are meeting her for the very first time today. Please, Freddie, can you please introduce yourself and to my listeners as well?
Hi, everybody. Good to be here this evening. Warm greetings. My name is Ndifreke Andrew Essien. Everybody calls me Freki. I'm the executive director of Fake Care Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization based here in Nigeria. And what we do is we offer step gap support services to vulnerable individuals. I'm also a public health professional by training and a physiologist. I do motivational speaking. I am a disability advocate, among other things, and I am blessed and saved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freddie, for joining us this afternoon. I know you are a very busy woman. Yes, I know that you are a very busy woman. For agreeing to come and do this, I am not taking it for granted at all. Right, we're going to go straight into today's topic. And the topic we are discussing today is purpose-driven life. Yes, in the year 2002, something happened to you which can be described as a tragedy. Could you please briefly, share this with us today?
Okay, so Anybody that has seen the flyers for this program will see the full view. I use a wheelchair. I wasn't born using a wheelchair, and that was as a result of something that happened to me in the year 2002, specifically on the 26th of December. So I was in school studying for my professional exam because at that time I was a fourth year medical student in the university. I had gone home earlier in the month of December to let my parents know that I wasn't going to be spending the Christmas holiday with them. So I found myself in school because I had to study, because that particular professional exam was very important for me to move from fourth year to fifth year. That's clinical one to clinical two. And we're in school studying. And the day after Christmas, I felt that, okay, I should go do some visitation because I'd had it up to here with reading. So I stepped into town, and we have different modes of transport, and one of them is bike, what people call okada. So we had I had the option of okada, we had taxi, we had option of walking. I had the option of walking, but that particular day, because I wanted to get to where I was going to in a hurry so that I could go back to my studies, and also it wasn't too far from school, so I boarded a bike, an okada. Interestingly, we were able to cross all the major roundabouts, all the major junctions, and I actually got to where I was going to, and I pointed out to the bike man where I was going to. I was trying to cross the road to get to the other side, and in a micro, milli, nano, what's smaller than nanosecond, I found myself in the middle of the road, completely unaware. Well, I was awake, but I didn't quite know what had just happened. Apparently, we had just been involved in an accident. When that happened, and I had impact on the coal tile in the middle of the road, immediately I couldn't feel my legs were right there. And then a car was coming at top speed to kind of maybe finish what had happened. That one swerved away, but there was a lot of commotion. And at that point, a lot of people came out because I was going to visit an aunt that I had stayed with before. So I was kind of known in the environment, and people came out and were now, oh, it's Frecky, it's Frecky. I kept hearing that because I was wide awake. The only thing I know, I remember, was that I couldn't feel my legs. And I remember wondering where they were, if maybe that car that was coming at top speed had climbed it or what had happened. So anyway, to cut a long story short, um, a good Samaritan stopped, and then, as it is for everyone who is here with me, Nigeria, we know how it can be when there's an accident. There's a lot of commotion, and this good Samaritan now stopped and was like, "Let's take her to the hospital." And at that point, when they lifted me from the road to put me in the car, the pain in my back was very intense. I knew that something was definitely not right. At that time, the hospitals were on strike. So what we did was I asked them to take me to where I was currently doing my clinical rotation. That's in the Students Medical Center. And so we got there, and my journey began from there. So on the 26th of December 2002, yes, in the evening, between 4 and 5 p.m. See how detailed I am, because I remember it like yesterday. My life changed and took a very different turn. One that I didn't even consider would ever happen. So I don't know if I'm supposed to continue telling the story, or I'm supposed to pause at what happened on that particular day.
Thank you. Anytime you see me on the screen, then you know you're to round it off. Yeah, thank you very much for that story. Yeah, I didn't want you ahead. It's not your fault. You've not done anything wrong. Thank you very much for that. I just wanted to take us back a bit. You said you were a medical student, when the accident or the incident happened. Why did you choose to study medicine?
Okay, so thanks for the question. For as early as I've known, I've always wanted to help people. And the typical Nigerian child, if asked what they want to study, would say, they're usually, somebody said, if you're a girl or a boy, you have the option of medicine. And then if you're a boy, you have engineering. These days, we have girls who are engineers. But anyway, the best way I thought I could express helping people was medicine and surgery, and that is why by default it was my course of choice and study in the university, medicine and surgery.
From everything that you've described to us this afternoon, I perceive that you are a strong woman. So, what was the first thing that came to your mind, after the accident?
Okay, so immediate responses were getting help, getting medical attention, based on my background, which is why and thank God I was kind of I was awake throughout the incident. I wasn't unconscious or anything. Instead, it was the bike man that was bleeding and unconscious. For me, if you would see me, you would think that I was just lying there because I didn't even have as much as a scratch on my body, like nothing. I just knew that I couldn't move my legs, and then my pain. I had this intense pain that I would never wish on my enemies. So when they took me to the medical center, student medical center, and my consultant, my presiding consultant in my clinical rotation, I called him to come because it was a holiday and people were not around. So he came and then he kept asking what happened, and I told him. So almost immediately at the same time when all of that confusion was happening, my sister, who was not in the country, or still is not in the country, called me, and I was like, I had an accident. I had an accident. And that call was very crucial because my parents at that time had traveled for the Christmas holiday to the village, and there was no network there. So she was able to call someone to get them. So my journey immediately was to try to get a medical attention to see what was happening, to understand what was happening, and to actually finally be able to get that attention was another journey on itself. Because when my parents now came to me in Calabar, we took an ambulance to Port Harcourt, where I'm based, in where we live in River State. And all this while I was bedridden and on my back because I was immobile. I couldn't move or sit or do anything, just the pain, the constant pain. So I was kind of flat on my back and I couldn't move because if I even shook myself a bit, there was pain. And even lying there was pain. So when we got to Port Harcourt, they did series of tests. It wasn't enough. And so they lifted me with an helicopter to Lagos, still medical attention. And I found myself in the hospital on bedridden and for about 3 months, going back and forth and doing tests. At that time, I wasn't still clear on what the prognosis was. We're still checking. We're still trying to know, what was happening. And the doctor said at that time in Lagos, he said honestly, and I really want to thank him for being honest with us, because he said that he would prefer, if we could afford it, that I would travel out and get medical attention. He actually said it. And that was the first indication that I had in this whole journey that this may have been more serious than I thought, because I actually didn't think. I just thought that, okay, maybe I was in spinal shock, and then after some time, my spinal nerves would kick back. And so I didn't think that it would be something that a highly placed orthopedic surgeon in Nigeria would tell me that he would prefer that I go out to get medical attention. And that was the first time that I knew that, okay, this could be more than I thought. But I didn't still think, that it would be, it will lead to, having to have a mobility impairment. It didn't, come like that until we got to Israel, because I had to travel for surgery to Israel. That's where we were recommended to go to. And after a battery of tests, I remember that day very clearly because the doctor came in and he kept asking me where I had been. And I was like, I was in the hospital. He couldn't, he couldn't relate to the fact that I'd been in hospital for as long as I'd been and nothing had been done. And I told him that where I come from, things work a bit differently, and that the doctor even did me a favor of not going into my back because he said he would rather not. Because and so this doctor, because he's, Hebrew is his first language, English is his second language. He didn't know how best to tell me what was going on. He kept trying to explain that this is a medical emergency. What happens is, if it happens, they should take you to the theater, surgery immediately. He was trying to explain that. And I was like, I know, but things don't work like that where I am. So that was the journey to a particular incident. When I knew that things were a bit different was when he clearly told me that the only thing that he could do was to help me sit again.
Wow. And you, viewers and listeners, I really, really want you to help us share this video today, because what Frankie is sharing with us this afternoon is something that will make us to think again, to look at our lives and readjust. And that is why it is really, really crucial, very, very important that you help us share this video. You might be saying, I don't need it, but I bet you have somebody on your wall that needs to hear this. And again, we're on YouTube as well, so you can watch us on YouTube as well. And whilst you're there, please subscribe to my channel. Right. Freaky, I know you are so passionate. You wanted to be a medical doctor and for everything that you're going through as well. So, and I've heard about some people that were able, to continue their studies while on admission in the hospital. Were you able to do that? And if not, why not?
Okay, thanks again for the question. So what happened was that um, when the accident happened, there were no quick answers to, okay, how long is this going to take? How, what's next? What's definitely next? So I didn't have an inclination. Nobody had in my family how long it would take to go back to school or, anything. But what I did and what I normally do, and if somebody's hearing me out there, is I'm somebody who would pause for a moment. My mom always taught me, because she's a teacher, she always thought to go from known to unknown. So rather than major on what I do not know and allow it to amplify my fears, I try to consider, okay, what do I know about this? And it helped me a lot. So as regards going back to school, I knew that one of the things that I could definitely do was to defer my studies. And so I contacted my friends who were still students at that time, and I asked them to please help me write letters to ensure that it was not as if I just disappeared from the system. Because it's one thing for them to know what happened, is another thing for them to know definitely what was going on with me. So I was able to defer my continuing my studies through the period. So it took a while. It took a long while, almost 3 years or more, for me to kind of go figure out, what was happening. Because after I had surgery, very long-winded surgery, I had like two or more, and I was still in Israel. I had to start learning to sit again, to sit down. I I remember. Sorry, I'm smiling, but I'm trying to help somebody not.
Yeah. I really, really like your spirit. I like your confidence. And I hope and I believe and pray that it's going to help somebody today and put a smile on somebody's face today. What you are sharing this afternoon will motivate somebody, will liberate somebody, and take somebody to the next chapter of their life, what we are doing today. So it is okay to laugh or smile if you want to. Can you please share with us, when the doctor told you that the only thing or the best thing he could do for you was to help you to sit? What went through your mind, when you heard that news that you're going to be confined, you're going to be on the wheelchair for the rest of your life? What came to your mind?
All right, thanks again. And the reason why I said that, I'm sorry I'm smiling, is because somebody might think that I'm taking it lightly, but that's not the case. I've come a long way, and I know that a merry heart doeth good. So I've learned to smile in the face of. I didn't even used to smile this much before I had the accident. Interestingly, I found out from my past pictures when I compared. But coming to your question, when that particular day we're waiting, because the test results, I'd done CT scans and MRIs, and I have a bit of understanding based on my background. So the doctor came in and he told me that what was happening in my back, because he was the first person to give me very clear answers. He told me that I had a burst fracture of my spine. He also told me the level, and then he told me what he was going to do, which is a lumbar fusion and some skin bone grafting. And then he said that the best I could do with that medical intervention was to learn to sit. When he said that, and mind you, like I said, English is not his first language. He speaks Hebrew, so he came out very blunt, and without, he couldn't pad it in any way. He couldn't be nice about it. He just came at it very directly. I traveled with my mom, so she was with me because my dad had to be back home raising the money that we needed for these the surgeries to happen. So when it happened, I remember it very clearly because my mom left me and she went into the bathroom, and then I heard her crying. Um, but for me, what I did, I love music. I'm also not, I don't respond too quickly emotionally. Like I like to keep a level head as much as possible. The only emotion that it can get me is when I scream, shout. But as for reacting, so I was a bit like trying to take it in, and I literally took earphones like I have here, and I was listening to music, and I put it back in my ear. And I honestly believe that, sorry, I'm a Christian, so I would be referring back to the Bible. So, so I honestly believe that the steps of the righteous are ordered by God, and it's
You're absolutely right. And I love your simplicity and your honesty, because sometimes when you meet some people and you ask them when something eats them or when they are in a situation, what's the first thing that they do? Some of them will say, "Oh, I started praying, I started speaking in tongue," and but we are different, and I love that the fact that you're not trying to portray yourself as if, oh, that's the only thing that we can do when we find ourselves in such situation. So you're absolutely right. Singing, listening to music, they're so good. But again, you just have to be mindful of the kind of music or song that you listen to at that period. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. Now I want to go personal with you, Freaky. You are a beautiful woman. So I believe before the incident happened, you must have, a relationship in your life. And I mean a love relationship. I know you have your brotherly, sisterly, friends relationship, but now I'm talking, a love relationship. So did it affect your relationship at any time?
okay. So, would it be okay if I just wanted to mention that I know I keep taking you back, but I'll try not to. But why I said that the steps of the righteous are ordered by God is because the specific song that was playing was kind of what I needed to hear at that time. And it's a song by CC Winans, and the words are plainly this: it's going to get, and me hearing the song at that cue was very instrumental to me being able to push forward and being strong. And the words to that song are, it's gonna get better, don't give up now, please, it's going to get better, weeping may endure for a night, there's joy, and joy will come, there's hope, so will you stay, it's going to get better, please don't throw your life away. That was the song that was playing. I would sing it maybe towards the end, but that was the song that played, and I just knew that I wasn't alone. That's the feeling that I got. And then of course we cried later, but that was the feeling that I got. Then as regards a relationship, yes, I was in a relationship when I was in school. More like, you were my best friend, so it was easy for us to just remain be friends. So did the accident affect us? Not directly, because we remain, it was easy to, I don't know, when you're in a relationship with your friend, it's easy to talk about anything. So that's what I had, and so it was easy to talk about my fears and my concerns. And when it was time for us to part ways, it was very amicable, and we're still friends till tomorrow. So I didn't I mean, I had issues because it did affect my self-esteem, but I think I was blessed that it was a friend, so I was able to talk about those things, and he said he didn't really care about them. But I mean, as we continue to grow, different in interest and all that, so we went our separate ways. So I think that's also key, because I've seen where people allow circumstances to dictate what they do and how they interact. It's important, it does affect us, but never let it be the drum beat that you dance to. You deserve, I know that I deserve love, so it was easy for me to still be in a relationship afterwards, and then like an adult, when it was time to part ways, do the right thing and remain friends.
honesty again. Thank you. A lot of people who are genuine, who are real. So, have you ever? And I love the fact that you mentioned that it did affect your self esteem. I would really love it. Maybe towards the end, how you were able to overcome that. Because it's something that a lot of young females, young girls are really struggling with, even without having any accident in their life. Some people they just have low self-esteem. So I would really, really love it if you can help us, share with us how you are able to overcome your low self-esteem. So have you ever suffered from stigmatization or any form of discrimination, because of the condition that you find yourself now?
Yes, I
Yes.
have. And it's something that we live with every day. I have had many encounters that have been stigmatizing and discriminating because of the wheelchair. And the truth of the matter is that people do judge a book by the cover and are not very patient to find out what's inside the book. That is the world that we live in. One of the incidences that I purely and heavily remember was one of the first, my first experiences where I found out that disability could be a real hindrance to me wanting to achieve something. Was when I finally was able to get some strength, learn sitting, figure out a few things because I was not able to get rehabilitation immediately. When I came back home, I was like, oh, they're like, oh, don't worry. Once you finish the surgery, once you come back, because I had learned how to sit a bit, even though I was at an angle. So the plan was when I come back to have spinal rehabilitation, and then that's when I began to find out a lot of things. I found out that I was not able to get where to do proper spinal rehabilitation. That if it was orthopedic, yes. If it had to do with the bones, yes. But anything neurologic or spinal per se, it wasn't something that I would get easily. So I had to work out being in a lot of I was online a lot trying to figure out, joined forums, asked a lot of questions, read a lot, just trying to figure out many things. And before I was finally, after many years, able to go out again to do rehabilitation. That's story for another day. But as regards my first experiences, when I was finally ready to go back to school, I was so blessed to have deferred it, so they knew where I was. So I had my medical reports. So we went, and I was told that they were going to be having a college assembly, a meeting where they talked about my case and then made the decisions. So when I was looking at the scenario when we're driving down, I was like, okay, because I was when the accident happened, I was transitioning or supposed to take a professional exam to transition to another class. So in my mind, the highest thing I thought would happen was they say, okay, repeat the entire. And I mean, I was cool with that because I was like, okay, fine. It will help me to remember all the things I forgot because the years have passed. But when I went there, to my greatest surprise, because I was there right there in the meeting, and they kept talking and they were saying that we don't have facilities. We're not going to be able to waive off some things. And I was like, and I remember responding saying, please, sirs, do not waive anything. Just walk with me. Let's figure it out. And they said at this time we're not really able to figure it out. Maybe in the near future would have adjusted, but now we cannot really accommodate. What do we do when this happens? They were creating many scenarios. I mean, I understood with them, but mine was that come on, work with me. I don't equally have the answers, And while we're there, one professor will throw, "Can you even stand at all?" I'm like, dude, I can't stand at all. Like, it. I mean, the medical report is right in front of you. Why ask me that kind of question? So anyway, it was a whole back and forth, and then they were like, no, at this time we're sorry, we can't have you come back. What we can do is you can still be a student, but you have to change your course. They even started telling me which courses I could do and which courses I could not do, and I just said, okay, you know what, thank you, sirs, let me go and think about it. They're like, what is your decision? I said, I can never make that decision. How I'm feeling right now, I didn't feel like crying. I just felt disappointed because I didn't anticipate that that would be or a solution or a thing. So I felt very disappointed with the system. I felt disappointed that they didn't want to work with me to figure it out. So that was my first experience with what disability could do and how stereotypes and narrow-mindedness could affect me moving forward when I thought that I could move forward. So I've had those kind of instances. I also experienced stigma by way of people's responses to me. That has changed over time because people are now used to me. But I remember that initial time, you know, God so blessed that the person that we stayed with in Israel insisted that I go out a lot. At least she gave me one day every week as an outing day. She said, Frankie, I wanted to be used to people now because it's different. You were up there, you know, it's kind of different. So just go out, just get used to people seeing you and let people get used to seeing you. I didn't get it then, but I think I get what she was trying to do. But then I was like, that's stress. But I still went. But what happens by way of why I'm saying sharing this is that I see people's faces and how they react. Some people are like, is she coming to ask for something? Some people are like, "Eh, these people again, you know, that kind of is. And then some people are like, pity, yeah, this fine girl. Sorry, I'm in Nigeria, so this fine girl. Oh my God, wait, see happen. Then some people are like, they will now come, they will not even ask you what happened. They now, especially my Christian brothers and sisters, they have the list and numbers of all the pastors in the world. They, so so I get different responses, and I think it even make I think it adds color to my life. Let me not lie, but stigma, yes, it happens. I've also experienced it because of work. Me being told candidly and directly that you cannot do this job because of disability. So yeah,
Thank you very much for being open. And I believe that, our viewers today, you're going to keep sharing this video and it will get to the right person because we want change to happen. And change can only happen when we do our own part. And the part that you have to do today is for you to share this video because you don't know who is on your wall and knows the government that will get this video across to them and that change will happen. So please, if you haven't, this is the best time for you to share this video right now. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Freaky. Now, I want to go into, what we call religious now. I have some people say to me that, accidents only happen to those who sin. If you are a sinner, then definitely accidents will be after your life, or those who do not pray, or those who are far from God. Have you ever, thought that this accident happened because of any of those things or as a result of your parents' sin?
thanks again for the question. And yes, it is a thing of thought where we people always say that because of sin, that sin would cause this kind of affliction. But I think for me, the I think knowing scripture has helped a lot because you need to know God and know His word for yourself as opposed to what people tell you. Because honestly, in the day of adversity, what is your strength are the things you kind of know, not even things that you kind of learn there, but things that you have fortified yourself with scriptures that you have laid your foundation on. Those are the kind of things that come back to you and kind of inform how you respond. Now, when it comes to faith and being told that it was because of a sin that I had the accident, yes, I did hear that. I still hear it till today. And that is because of my sins that God punished me. And my dad has been accosted that time when he was not retired at work. In fact, he told us a story how one of their staff fellowship members came and said that he needed to confess all the sins that he could remember, including those he couldn't remember. And my dad said, if that is what will make my daughter be fine, confess we go. So, so yes, that has happened. But as for me thinking that that is why the accident happened, no, I know better than to think that. First of all, why do I know this? Is because when we look in scripture, people were healed of their sicknesses for different reasons. There were those who God said, your faith has made you whole. There were those who God said, rise and walk. There was no story after that. There were those who God said, your sins are forgiven thee. So different instances led to different issues. So me allowing the devil to make me feel like, oh, it was my biggest sin or anything, when I know that I have mercy available to me, was not something that I really dwelled on. per se as regards my sin. And interestingly, to think that that particular year was one of the years that I actually decided to even get more serious with the things of God, like be more serious, more focused, stop going to parties, and really focus and become a worker, full-fledged worker, and do all that. So I was like, I don't think that really comes up. Instead, what I saw or felt was more like the enemy trying to fight me because I decided that, I'd given my life to Christ. I mean, that was way back, but like being serious and committed to the things of God, without excuse or saying, "Oh God, you understand," and things like that. So instead of thinking it was more like sin, for me, it was kind of the enemy trying to fight me and fight my destiny. That's how I felt. So I felt that it was not about God not being on my side, but God being on my side and ensuring that the enemy did not win where he tried to take over and take a hold of my life and not allow me to live my life and not allow me to feel destiny.
Thank you very much for that. I just want to encourage somebody listening to us right now. I don't know what your situation might be. Your situation might not even be what we are discussing today. But whatever it is that you are going through has weighed you down, has made you to stay down there, thinking is as a result of your sin or that of your parent. I want you to get up now. I know that God loves you. He has forgiven you. Is God of grace. He has graced you. So please pick yourself up and go out there and be a star that you are. Thank you very much, Freaky, for sharing that with us. Now let us talk about mindset. A lot of us, Black Africa, when we see people on wheelchair, we see liabilities, and some parents or families will hide those kind of children that are born like that or have accident later in life and they can't do what they used to do before, because of what people will say. So, and we want to change our society's mindset about how people see people that are physically challenged. Have you got anything to say about that, about mindset?
Oh, yes, I do have a lot to say about it, and I'll try to be brief. One of the first instances that I had with how people think was I was still in the hospital. In fact, we're still in Nigeria. I didn't even know what the prognosis was. I didn't know what the journey that from the accident, what it would lead to. Because this is I think my dad was sharing, these are stories that come up, that came up later. And my dad told us how, while I was yet in the hospital and while they were running helter skelter, trying to figure out, what to do, trying to raise money for me to travel or get the needed attention, his friend, a good friend of his, working with him, well educated man, told him that he had many children and that he would advise him to focus on the other children. This is a clear case of trying to advise. Advice comes in all shapes and sizes and has continued to come. My dad was very surprised because he was like, "This girl is not dead. How can you say I should forget about her and focus on the other children?" When he told me that story, I was not surprised because in the work as a disability advocate, I've begun and seen where parents have hidden their children. In fact, some who haven't hidden their children are not even considering that the children should have maybe education. The focus is, I think we still practice the medical model of disability and the welfare model, where the medical model is where you want to fix the person and you don't understand that this person can adapt to living fully in spite of the disability. So, one of the reasons why I talk about disability or put myself out there most of the time when people are saying, "Must you be you? Must you come out?" is simply because in doing what I do, I know that people see possibilities. I've had interactions, I mean, in testimony, so many testimonies, just by being and just by doing, when people with disabilities themselves realize that, okay, it's possible. So many instances. And just to mention that a lot of the comments and a lot of the stereotypes and a lot of the mindsets that come when it comes with disability is informed by, it's not by wickedness, I don't want to call it wickedness, it's informed by experiences, by wrong narratives, and even also by sometimes actions of we persons with disabilities sometimes. But I just want to say that while some may be true, a lot of them are fiction, a lot of them are myths and misconceptions. For example, I did meet a lady who had a child who had spina bifida. Now, she didn't know any better than to want to fix her child. So she was just going from one hospital to another, and she didn't think that her child needed education. When her child became 18, because the child had tried to go to school and she felt that there was stress on the child started asking her why she did not allow her to go to school. And I asked her, why didn't you allow your child to go to school? So you could, she now started running helter skelter because, well, thank God it wasn't late, trying to find a school where the child could go to. So you have those kind of instances where society wants to press disability on you as if that should be your entire focus. Let me baffle you. One of the instances that I've faced in the faith setting, in the church setting, was we were having a program. Was not my direct assembly. I went for a program, and I like dressing well. I mean, I like looking nice. So, so I was one of my it was one of my days, and I was looking really nice, and I like shoes. I'm not able to wear high shoes anymore. High heels. Anybody that knows me, I'll just be on a platform. But I like shoes, so I still wear nice flat shoes or wedges. And I was smiling, interacting with some other people around. And this woman, I know that she came with good intentions, but this is what she communicated by her thoughts. She said that, why am I not serious? That I'm just here laughing with everybody, just doing that. She has been watching me every day. I'm wearing one shoe, wearing one dress, that I'm not taking my healing seriously. And then I turned to her and I told her, thank you, ma. I know that you would rather that I looked as if my world had ended, that I was dirty, my feet dragging on the ground, probably crawling, hopeless, and all that. I know that it would have made you feel that I was serious about being healed, or me just coming to church to fellowship, that was a big deal. But thank God you are not Jesus. So if he doesn't mind, I'm sure you don't mind me coming as I am. And everybody turned. I was very surprised, and I could see her face, and I knew that for the first time probably in her life, she realized that she didn't need to be a judge or jury. So when it comes to society, this is my take for them. Do not label people without knowing them. Don't just write a person off because the person is looking different than you are. I think you're not being fair to that person. Interact with the person. There's a reason why the term is persons with disabilities. There's a person first. The person is just moving differently. The person, if he's deaf, is just communicating differently. That's a human being like you. Blood is still flowing in that person's vein. So take that person as an individual. So enough of this writing people off just because of the small thing that you see. And then get educated, learn more about disability. The world is now, knowledge is open. Before it was hidden, people didn't really know what was happening. Go and read, find out about maybe that disability, especially if you have to work closely with the person. That a person does something differently doesn't mean that the person cannot achieve that thing. I'm sure COVID-19 has taught us that. Nobody thought they could work from home. Now they are working from home and still achieving a lot. So I'm just saying this, that don't have a narrow mindset when it comes to disability. The stereotypes are there, but most of them are a lie. Let me stop there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think I would have put it better because I am an advocate for labeling and, stigmatization. I just can't stand it. Disability, I don't like using that word. Just because you can't do something the way I can do it does not make that person to be disabled. No, just because the person is sitting on a wheelchair does not mean they are disabled. No, because there are some things they can do that I cannot do. So we should stop labeling people. We should stop stigmatizing and see human first. The same blood that flows in your vein is flowing in your vein, and that is why I do this show. That's why I called my show Beautiful Mind. If you can have a beautiful mind, you will see everybody the way you see yourself, and you will love people the way you love yourself. Thank you very much for that. I just want to read people's comments. Thank you very much, King Joy, for joining us today. And Joy King, thank you, Esther Areg Beshala. Thank you very much. She said, more grace, ma'am. Oyovo, thank you. Great testimony. You are a great woman. Mommy Sheon Dipolu, thank you very much, ma, for joining us. She said, already shared. God, you are a witness of God's love, Vicky. And society can appear to be over concerned, thereby whereby their intentions are perceived judgmental. Thank you very much, Ma. Esther went further to say, God bless you, woman of God. Thank you very much. Please, please help us share this video, because we want to achieve two things today from today's, and three things actually: to heal people's mind, to let the government know what they are doing. Yes, that is part of doing the show. And again, to let people stop judging or stigmatizing people. And that is why it is really, really important for you to help us share this video today. Thank you very much. We want the society to be a better place. So please, if you believe in that vision, help us share this video. Thank you, BC Bukola in the stand, for joining us this afternoon. Thank you very much. Please help us share this video. Right. I have heard people ask God, why me? Why me? If I told you're going to do something with my life, why put me on the wheelchair? Have you ever asked God that question, Freaky?
Okay. Is it okay if I rest? There's something that Mama Shaun said about people having good intentions and it being perceived as judgmental, and that is true. Society can appear to be over concerned, and thereby their intentions are perceived as judgmental. This is true. And that is why one of the things that we advocate for is how to engage with persons with disabilities. I think one of the things that brings about that issue of being over concerned is when you assume, when you make assumptions of feeling that you know what the person needs best. That's what happens a lot of times. So just to address that, most times, especially if it's not a person with maybe intellectual disability, you can ask how you can help. That is always a good starting point, rather than assume that you know what is best for the person. Especially if that conversation can be had, it is okay to interact with the person. A person with disability still has dreams and visions and a purpose and a desire, so it's okay to have that conversation, especially if you're a loved one on the position to help. I hope I've helped somebody with that. So yes, interact with the person. Do not make the assumption of just barging in and say, don't worry, I know what's best for you. Sometimes it can be overbearing. Okay, so as regards why me, well, as anybody would ask, I did not have any serious prior interactions with disability before my accident. The earliest I can think about was while I was in university, when a friend of mine was telling me that, oh, she's going to learn sign language because her church admitted deaf people, and she was very interested in being able to communicate the gospel to the deaf. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. That was my first experience with anything disability. So following from when the accident happened, honestly, I did ask God, I mean, that I needed to understand why this happened so that I can move forward, I can maximize it if it were, as it were. And so I did ask him what was the purpose in all of this pain. I did ask, and I think it's a legitimate question to ask, because in seeking God's help, he has honestly, he helped me to kind of move forward from thinking that life as I knew it was over, and allow him to open my eyes to see that beyond what had happened, that he would give me strength. Beyond what had happened, he would still allow me to express purpose in another way, that beyond what had happened, that and me being alive, that I was not for nothing's sake. So yes, I did ask him why, and the why was trying to understand, as in, what's all this for? Why do I need to, as in, what's this about? I tell people that sometimes I don't, I feel like that day didn't happen. It feels as if it didn't happen. I don't know how to explain it. It feels as if I'll just wake up and it's like, oh, okay, it's like a dream. Sometimes it feels like that. But I did ask God the why, and I told him to help me, because honestly, on my own, I told him to help me. I say if this is where it's at for now, you have to help me.
Much. And again, I asked that question, just to enlighten people out there that it is okay to ask why, because you have been sent on an assignment, you are on an assignment, you really want to know why you have to be the one to do the assignment and what is it that you need to equip you in doing the assignment. That is why you're asking the why me. You're not asking the why me because you are wishing it on another person, because that isn't fair. That is what we want to clarify there. Thank you very much. Nigeria turned 60 years, after independence yesterday. As someone who is physically challenged, and with everything that you have explained with us regarding your education and all that, how do you feel about that country and any regret of being in Nigeria? Please, briefly.
So I have no
So I have no
regrets
regret.
being in Nigeria. I love my country. Hello. And happy independence, So, with regards, as regards Nigeria turning 60, when I was looking at people's comments and everybody was talking about how Nigeria was a 60-year-old baby, 60-year-old toddler, refusing to get maturity and grow. And then a friend of mine was like, let us look at some of the positives. Let's not always look at all of the negatives. When it comes to disability rights movement in Nigeria, the journey has been treacherous, and we're still on that journey. Thank God, in 2018, the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability in Nigeria Act was signed to law. The bill was signed to law. So we have that act, and currently the commission, the Nigerian Disabled Persons Commission, has been instituted. The board of trustees has been constituted, and they have the mandate to ensure implementation. So at least as regards disability rights for persons with disability in Nigeria, um, or at least we were able to do something about it in our 60 years. Now, 60, the next years, you should not reach 60, please. The next few years, what we want to see is seriousness when it comes to the rights of persons with disabilities by way of implementation of the law, and also for society to learn the law so that you're not getting caught unawares. A legal friend of mine said that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So the law is there to protect the rights of persons with disability, and every form of discrimination against persons with disabilities, there are penalties out there. So that is one of the good things that we in our community got from the first 60 years of Nigeria's life. So
I
as
love,
regards
I love,
in Nigeria,
I love the fact that you still love Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian and I am proud to be one. Thank you very much for that. I have a question that I want to ask you, and I will ask you at the end of today's show. So I pray I won't forget. Right. A physically challenged and popular musician in Nigeria believes that he will still work again. He has so much faith that he will still work again. And I want to put it to you. Do you have faith? Because I know you're a medical student, that's why I'm asking you this question. And I want you to be able to talk about faith and your the fact. Do you believe that you can still work again, Flaky?
Oh, that's a very simple one. Yes, the answer is yes. And what guides me to know that it is possible is because loaded in scriptures, I serve Jehovah Rapha, who is Lord, that is the healer. But one thing I want to sound is this: I did medicine, but now I'm in public health. So I swapped programs to become a public health professional in my first and in my second degree. And what I want to put out there is that, and I want to help somebody because this has also come up. I've been accused of abandoning my search for healing, as it were, and kind of moving on with my life. That's the best way I can describe it. And initially, I was wondering if it was something that was wrong. And I don't mean abandoning, that where I'm not doing anything but attending crusades and all that. But then I got my confirmation that I needed to live my life very purposefully and understand every step in my journey and my walk with God, and that God is faithful to deliver on His promises. That is why I continue to do what I do knowing that God is there, and that at the time, the right time, when the purpose of being on the chair, because God does not do anything anyhow. When the purpose for being on the chair is done, I mean, walking is done. There's so much that I've achieved, by this chair, and I know that God had a reason for it. And so, yes, walking, yes, yes, that is a yes. That's a definite yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you are a spirit being because you've just, peeped into my script to see my next question because the topic of today is a purpose-driven life. Can you please share tips with us, how you've been able to stay focused, and pursue your dreams despite being on a wheelchair? Briefly, please.
Okay, so as briefly as I can because it's a long journey. So the work was not easy, and I am still on it. One thing that I knew was that the accident that I had was for death, that I shouldn't have lived beyond that day. And then understanding that I had a second lease in life, that I had a second chance at life, has helped me to be more passionate about life and not just existing. Now, understanding my purpose or trying to work or working in purpose had to come from a place of a lot of internalizing. I had to ask God, okay, okay, fine, I'm not in the medical field. How do I still express helping people? Because what people do not understand sometimes is that expression of purpose can come in different forms. So I asked God that what other way could I express this purpose? And that is why I got introduced into volunteering and then had the platform which I have now, which is Fake Air Foundation in the non-profit sector, the third sector. And I've been able to express that purpose very well in that sector. So you must be conscious to know that if you were on a journey, because most of the time, especially for persons who have a disability, whether as a teen or as an adult, for me, initially it felt like I was on a journey, and immediately there was this roadblock that just came and blocked me, and I didn't know exactly how to move forward. But in moving forward, first of all, I had settled it within myself that, okay, I'm not an accident. This did not happen without God knowing it. So what am I supposed to do from here? And so I continued in what I knew, which is the basic medical sciences, and I took it one day at a time. It was one step at a time. I set my goals, one goal at it, one step at a time. I didn't want to figure out, oh, no, 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 that felt like too much work. So I was like, what is the immediate thing that I can, long-term thing that I can work on? So for example, when I was told, oh, you can't come back to do this and this, so the immediate term was I must get a degree. It felt like that would be my validation. So I worked hard for it. I was focused. That was like so did everything. Even when had there were issues, made sure everybody did their part because I had done my part, graduated, and just to add to that, achieved. So I'm saying that I didn't need to face or figure out like everything. I mean, I don't still know everything, but when I'm clear on something, I ask God, and God makes it really clear. I kind of say, okay, what do I need to do to get there? For example, Fake Air Foundation, when it became clear, that, okay, I should do this. It was simple. What do I need to get there? I didn't just start. We did volunteering. I did internships. I still volunteer for other organizations. I worked to get experience, still went back, did public health. So you see how all that added up towards getting that. So for me, I would say one of the things that helped me is goal setting. Serious goal setting has helped me to stay focused. It feels amazing when you can get up in the morning and you know that there's something to be done. No matter how small, it feels really amazing. In fact, when I didn't have rehabilitation and I was looking for, because I need to do things differently than I could do before, and I didn't know what to do. And okay, so my entire purpose then was figuring out how I could do things better. So it just gives you an anticipation, it gives you a reason. It must not be that I have saved, done one, maybe saved the world from something. I'm not Jesus Christ, but I know that the little extra that you put to add value to one person's life, that you have done something amazing, and that has kept me focused. Another thing that's helped me is to begin to learn my strengths. Learning my strengths has helped me to fan them, because there are obvious weaknesses. It's easy to see the things that are not good, the things that are bad, the things that are spoils. But I needed to, I trust me, we can do this. If I told somebody, write your 5 strengths, the person will struggle. wheelchair or no, disability or not, the person will struggle. But if I ask the person, tell me 5 bad things you don't like, woo, that list will be long. So if you're listening to me, let's do that. If you're at home, I know it's not a, because I do trainings, I know it's not a training, but just go back and write 5 things that you are, in fact, you, if they give you that thing, I mean, just write them and then start from there, build on that. So I know that I'm good at organizing, I know that I'm good at problem solving, that if you bring something, we can work together and the solution will come out. Finding those strengths and working with them. So these are some of the things. And then finally, just to help somebody, I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I'm not saying that this smile cannot turn into a crime, but honestly, cry when you finish, clean your eyes, but keep moving. Don't stop. The thing that will allow the enemy win is when you stay down, when you refuse to get up in the morning, when you refuse to stop crying, when you refuse to stop that pity party. That is when that adversity is winning over you. But when you have cried and you clean your eyes and you say, what next? You have won. You have won.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of today's show, but you said a very good therapy for people just now. Crying is good. It releases your tension, and it's always good if you have to cry, if you need to cry, if you must cry, do cry. But please don't stop there. That is what Frankie just said now. Do not stop there. Pick yourself up. If you can't do it, look for people that you know can help you get up and get up. Don't remain there. That is what we are saying this afternoon. Thank you very much. Now we've come to the end of today's show. I told you I have one special question that I want to ask you. If you happen to meet the president of Nigeria today, Frankie, what will you tell him or ask him, based on the experience that you've gone through in Nigeria?
So, thank you. So, I would tell him, as a disability outright advocate, that in the next few years that he has, that he should please turn his agenda to ensuring inclusion of all persons with disabilities at different levels, creating the systems that will allow them to thrive. Let us throw it to them and allow them to engage. And then I will also tell him that as regards children, that every right, because I love children and I really believe that children's rights sometimes is trampled on. And I'll tell him that everything that he needs to make Nigeria work so that every child's childhood will remain childhood, he should do it.
To say thank you. Please, viewers, help us say thank you to Flaky this afternoon for being, thank you. I don't know. I believe you've been a blessing, and I know that lives have been touched today by you. I know you have inspired somebody out there. I know you have touched somebody's destiny out there today. I know you have changed somebody's lifestyle today, even for just being on Beautiful Mind Show. Thank you very much. I want to say, please help us share this video, because we all are part of the change. And when you share this video, somebody out there might say, or maybe the president might say it. Thank you very much. Please, what is happening tomorrow? Beautiful conference. Start at 1 p.m. Yes, and you can join us via Zoom. All the the Zoom number is on all the social media, so please connect with us or on our YouTube page, Beautiful Mind TV. 1 p.m. tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. We've got great speakers lined up for you. Oh my God, I can't even wait for tomorrow to come, because I know my life will not remain the same after tomorrow. Thank you very much. And please, whilst you're watching on YouTube, help us subscribe to my channel, Beautiful Mind TV. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to my producer, AYD Ambassador, for putting all of this together. To you all out there, without you, there wouldn't be Beautiful Mind. Thank you very much. Until next week, when I will be bringing another informative and educative topic your way, I remain your host, Adeyinka Adeomi. Bye for now.
Ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze, uhambe nami, zungangishilana, dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana, ilondoloze, zuhambe nami, dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana.